Parshiyos, Behar-Bechukosai, Shabbos Chazak. We're there again, Shabbos Chazak. And before we start this week's Shiur, I just want to mention that I want to thank a lot of the people out there around the world who send. I get a lot of emails every week from different people, different parts of the world, different countries, and I want to thank this week. I want to thank one person especially. His name is Ephraim Schwartz. I've never met him, but he's been very gracious. Always has some very complimentary things to say about the Shiur, and I want to thank him as personally as I can do here on video by thelakewoodScoop.com. Beginning of the parsha, the second parsha that we learned this week, a Parshiyos Bechukosai. We know in Bechukosai telechu. So Rashi says that in Bechukosai telechu means shetiyu amelim batoira. And the bottom line is, everybody knows that every person is looking for ways to bring baracha into their life. Everybody's looking to have bracha, good mazel, and more than even doing mitzvahs, and more than any segula you could come up with, Rashi's telling you, the Torah is telling you right here at the beginning of this week's parsha, what is going to bring you all the brachas of parnasa, the brachas of children, the brachas of anything you could think of. Imuchukosai telechu. You'll be zoichet to all the brachas. Rashi tells us the chukosai telechu is going on amelus b'Torah. You can have everything else, but if you don't have limud Torah, amelus b'Torah, then you don't have what it takes to attain all of these brachas. The pasuk says a little further as follows. And one of the brachas we're going to be zoicha mir Hashem to get, v'nosati mishkani b'soichechem. I will put my mishkan amongst you. V'lo isigal nafshi eschem. Pasuk continues, v'hisalachti b'soichechem v'hoyisi lochem le'elokim. So Rashi says on v'hisalachti b'soichechem, Rashi says a very, very interesting thing. Rashi says, Atayel imochem, Atayel imchem began Eden. What does it mean? V'hisalachti b'soichechem, that I will go amongst you or with you? Is that Atayel imochem began Eden? I will sort of go with you in Gan Eden. Ke'echod mikem, like one of you. V'lo yisiyu misdazim imeni. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying, I'm going to go together with you, Kaviyachol, in Gan Eden, and you know what? You're not going to be misdazi. You're not going to be you're not going to be shaking from me. You're not going to be afraid of me. That's what Rashi says. But you might think, Zok Rashi, that you don't have to have any fear of Hashem. Hey, listen, if we're going to walk with Hashem in Gan Eden, then we don't have to have any fear. Therefore, the pasuk ends, V'hayisi lochem le'elokim, that you should have fear of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So what does this mean? That you're not going to tremble from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but you're going to have fear? That's one question. Also, another question Nesivos Shalom asks, what pshat that the brachas here at the beginning of the parsha, the brachas begin with Devarim Gashmiyim. Hashem is promising us all these wonderful brachas. If we have amelus b'Torah, we're going to have all these wonderful brachas of Gashmiyus it begins with. And it has the brachas, v'nosati gishmeichem be'itom, v'nosati shalom ba'oretz, v'achaltem yoshan oishon. We have all these things of Gashmias. And then after that, the Torah goes ahead and tells you the brachas of Ruchnias, the pasuk that we mentioned just before. V'nosati mishkoni b'soichechem v'salachti, and all those things are Ruchnias. That comes after. So why do we begin with the Gashmias and then go over to the Ruchnias? So the Nesivos Shalom explains this entire thing, which you just asked. You first ask the question. All the Mefarshim ask the same question. You look anywhere, you'll find this question at the beginning of this week's parsha. The Torah is telling us that if you have amelus b'Torah, you're going to get all these things. We know schar mitzvah b'hayal moleka. There is no schar for mitzvahs in olam hazeh, in this world. So what are all these promises of Bechukosai telechu? Everybody asks it. So Nesivos Shalom says a very, very beautiful shot on this, and he says, and this is another reason why there is no schar in Olam Hazeh. Zogt in Nesivos Shalom, there's a pasuk that says, Vayishman Yeshurun Vayivod, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give us so much good. And what happens sometimes when Hashem keeps giving, or when a person gets good and more good and more good, what happens? A lot of good can make you spoiled. And it makes you forget HaKadosh Baruch Hu Chas v'Shalom. The pasuk says, Pentoichal v'savata. You'll eat, you'll be satisfied. Uvotim toivim tivne. You're going to build beautiful homes. V'yoshavta. V'rom levavecha. It's going to get to your head, get to your heart. V'shochachta es Hashem alikecha. Pasuk tells us a fact, that unless you actively control you actually control your reaction to good, that if you keep getting good, you're going to get spoiled, and you're going to forget HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You're going to become haughty, and you're going to think that you did it all on your own. So Zokt in Nesivos Shalom, that part of the bracha in the parsha here is a promise from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that you're going to have shefa bracha in Gashmias. But what? You can have shefa brachas and Gashmias, and you're still not going to come to forget HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's a tremendous bracha. It's going to be a total bracha of Gashmias, that through the Gashmias you're going to come to even higher level of Ruchnias. The Gashmias is not going to bring you down, because the teva of Gashmias is the more you have, and the more you're given, and the more good you have, the teva is to go down. The bracha, the Torah is telling us in this week's parsha, is that the Gashmias, first the pasuk tells us about the Gashmias, and then the Ruchnias. The Gashmias alone is going to bring you to more Ruchnias. That itself is a tremendous, tremendous bracha. And that's in Behar-Bechukosai telechu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will watch over you and make sure that even your Gashmias is used for Ratzon Hashem. Nesivos Shalom says a pshat from the Sefer, told us Yaakov Yosef, he brings down. We know, everybody's familiar with the Mishnah, S.S.S. The Mishnah says, Kach hi darko shel Torah. This is the way of the Torah. Pas b'melach toicha. Eat bread with salt, umayim b'amsura tishteh. You should eat, you'll drink water with small measurements. V'al ha'oretz tishon b'chai tzar tichya. U'v'atoira ato amel. You should have amelus b'atoira. Im atoi sekein zok the Mishnah. Ashrecha bo'olam hazeh. V'toiv loch lo'olam haba. Everybody's familiar with this Mishnah. What the way of the Torah is. Frek the Nesivos Shalom, a question that's asked by Nesivos Shalom and others too. Ashrecha bo'olam hazeh. Have you ever met a person that is thrilled in Olam Hazeh because he has a bread with some salt? Or if a person has to sleep on the ground? That's Yischar, Ashrecha b'Olam Hazeh. What kind of Olam Hazeh is that? I mean, a person doesn't even have the little that most normal people have. He's eating bread with salt, he's sleeping on the ground. So Zokt in Nesivos Shalom, an unbelievable pshat in this Mishnah, and it goes along with what we just said. Kachi darko shel Torah. This is the way of the Torah. If this is the way you learn your Torah, and you make a kinyan in Torah, and it becomes your priority, where you learn Torah for the sake of that's your life, not for the sake of Gashmias, and not that you're only going to learn if you have Gashmias. If Torah becomes your priority, then Ashrecha bo'olam hazeh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to give you good. He's going to give you a lot of good in Olam Hazeh. Because why? Because you're learning Torah, and it's taka coming to you. But He's going to give it to you, Ashrecha b'olam hazeh, and still the toiv loch b'olam haba. That your Gashmias is not going to eat you up. It's not going to change the way you go about your life. It's not going to make you feel, a lot of times you find people, they're one type of person, they earn a couple of dollars, and also you can't talk to them anymore. You don't see them anymore. They look down at you. The whole learning becomes a little different. You learn on the couch, your feet up in the air, you accept guests and tzedakah collectors only on your time. When it's you're a totally different person. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells you, Ashrecha b'olam hazeh. If you have the right amelus b'Torah, kach hi darko shel Torah. If you go about it the right way in the Torah, Ashrecha b'olam hazeh, you're going to have everything good. But also the biggest bracha, the toiv loch la'olam haba. If you only want to learn with your luxuries, if you want that to be what controls your life, you're not going to have this bracha of Ashrecha b'olam hazeh and the toiv loch la'olam haba. And that's the haftocha of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in this week's parsha of Anosati Gishmechem Be'itam in Behar-Bechukosai telechu. If you go in the chukos, then you're going to be zochah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to watch over you, that even your Gashmias is going to do the Ratzon Hashem. It's going to bring you up to the level, like we said in Rashi, where you're being mitayel with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in Gan Eden. It's going to bring you up even to such a high level. The Gashmias will bring you, Zok Rashi, to the Ruchnias, where you're, so to speak, Kaviyachol, partners walking with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So we said this, Alachti b'soichechem, atayel imchem b'Gan Eden. I'm going to go with you in Gan Eden, ke'echad mikhem. So we asked the Kasha, it says, V'loitiyu misdazim, you're not going to shake from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. However, you will fear HaKadosh Baruch Hu, v'yisi lochem elikim. So we asked, what's the difference? Fear, no fear, yes fear, shake from fear, don't shake from fear. It says like this, there are two types of yira, Zok Nesivos Shalom. There's a type of yira, which is a yira from pachad, from Hashem. You're scared of Hashem. And that is a yira where we say, im yesh yira ein ahava. That type of yira cannot go with ahava. That's one type of fear. But there's another higher type of yira, Zok Nesivos Shalom. And that's a yira of ahava. You all know, if somebody really loves somebody, if somebody really is committed to another person, he has a yira to Chatz v'Shalom. I don't want to affect the love. I don't want to affect the love I have for another person. I do not want to affect this relationship, and that's a higher level of yira. Yira of fear, that's one level, but the fear of ruining of ahava, a fear of ruining a relationship, is a much higher level of yira. So in the bracha of we say the bracha in the pasuk, Salachti b'soichechem, I'm going to go along with you. Shalayu misdazim. Zot HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling us, you're not going to have a fear of pachad. The fear that you have for HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not going to be because you're afraid of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and you're shaking from Him. No. Avad, you have a yira from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but the yira is going to be a yira because of ahava. V'hayisi lochem le'lokim. I'm going to be, the fear you're going to have is because HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we're going to feel that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is our God. We're going to feel that we do not ever want to ruin the relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So that's when Rashi says that you're not going to shake from me, but you're going to have a fear for me. Rashi's telling us there are two different types of yira, and you're going to be zoiche to have the yira where the relationship is so close with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You have such an ava for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it's reciprocated. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has such an ava for Klal Yisrael. Chas v'shalom, we never want to ruin that. That's the yira. V'hayisi lochem le'lokim. That is because of our great ava for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We say in the tefillah, when we end every Shemon Esrei, we say, V'sham na'avodcha b'yira. We say, Yiratzon, right? She'yibana Beis HaMikdash. We want the Beis HaMikdash to be built. And then talking about the Beis HaMikdash, we know it comes with Hamelus B'Torah. It comes with the lessons we're supposed to learn in Sfira, Bein Adam Lachaveroi. If we push both of those things, Hamelus B'Torah and Bein Adam Lachaveroi, so we ask, She'yibana Beis HaMikdash, V'sham na'avadcha, we're going to go to Yerushalayim, V'sham na'avadcha, we're going to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'yira. Why b'yira? We should serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu with simcha. We should serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu in other ways. Why v'sham na'avadcha b'yira? Zot Nesivos Shalom, that we say every single Shemon essay. Na'avadcha b'yira out of ava. B'yira, that we're going to be so close with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're going to have such a ava. We're going to walk with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'sham na'avadcha, when we get there to Yerushalayim, na'avadcha b'yira, we're not going to want to ruin that relationship. So let's remember, when we learned this week's Parsha, that we take the lessons, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's ready to give us every bracha in the book. And I mean the book of the Torah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's ready to give us every bracha. But it comes with a condition. Amelus b'Torah. It comes with the condition of the lessons of Sfira, of Ben Adam Lachaveroi, how do you treat people. Let's hope that we'll all take the lessons of this week's Parsha. We'll be nischazek with Chazak, v'nischazek, and we will all become closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and be zoicha to all the rewards in this week's Parsha.